the best of money matters. Under the radar.
You're listening to Money FM 89.3, and it's now time for Under the Radar with me, Chua Tian Tian. Let's back to the offshore and marine industry today as we dive into a company that often makes the list of top movers on the Singapore Exchange. Now, you might have guessed it by now. Yes, we're speaking to Seatrium Limited, or the enlarged entity formed after Sembcorp Marine completed the 4.5 billion Sing dollar acquisition of its industry peer, Keppel Offshore and Marine, back in March 2023. Now, named after a combination of the words sea and atrium, Seatrium aspires to be a premier global player in providing engineering solutions for the offshore, marine and energy solutions industry. Now, today, its key business segments include oil and gas, offshore wind, repairs and upgrades, and carbon capture and storage and new energies, with the firm increasingly focusing on sustainable solutions as the global maritime industry transitions to cleaner energy use and embarks on decarbonisation efforts. Now, its presence, meanwhile, can be felt around the world, with shipyards as well as engineering and technology centres and facilities in Singapore, Brazil, China, India, the Middle East, the US, and even more. Now, Seatrium is an interesting company to look at because the firm's leadership managed to turn around the business in slightly just less than 2 years. Now, in February 2025, it reported a net profit of 120.9 million Sing dollars for its second half ended December. Now, the showing marked a reversal from the 1.8 billion Sing dollar loss seen in the year ago period. And the performance meant a full year net profit of 156.8 million Sing dollars for Seatrium, a marked improvement from the 2 billion Sing dollar loss seen the year prior and the first full year profit since the merger with Keppel O&M. Now, the road ahead for the firm remains positive, with the company reporting a net order book of 21.3 billion Sing dollars as at the end of March, with project deliveries that stretch to 2031. But really, how does the firm assess its turnaround strategy and the road ahead, given volatilities relating to global trade and oil prices? Well, lots of questions, and joining me right here in the studio is Chris Ong, CEO of Seatrium. Chris, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Tian Tian. Thank you for having me on the show.
Great to have you on board. And, Chris, we've talked about Seatrium as this enlarged entity formed through the merger of Sembcorp Marine with Keppel O&M in 2023. But let's hear from you today. How would you describe Seatrium's value proposition and business model?
Yeah, as you mentioned just now, very apt introduction. Seatrium is a solution provider for the energy transition to our customers, basically based on innovative engineering, not only just on asset engineering, but also on constructability and engineering, and also based on sustainability. And what is interesting would be our global delivery model. We call it One Seatrium Delivery Model.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Tell us a bit more about the One Seatrium Delivery Model, if I can follow up on that.
Yeah, sure. Since we came together in 2023, the team was hard at work.
Yeah.
Basically to break through silos and also bring the team together. So what we have today is centrally controlled central planning and also central control of how we approach value proposition to our customer.
Okay. Now, let's talk about your business segments today. So Seatrium's key business segments now include one that is oil and gas, 2 is offshore wind, 3 repairs and upgrades, and 4 carbon capture, storage and new energies. Take us through the service provided under the various segments, say the building of oil rigs or what we call FPSOs, floating production storage and offloading units. And if you look at all these segments, which is the most important one ultimately when it comes down to numbers on your balance sheet?
Okay, to answer that question, let me bring you through what we look at in terms of energy transition. I think energy transition, we are here to provide solutions to our customers in order to transit. The energy mix will be vastly different. The growth rate of different segments will be vastly different. So if you take a look at our traditional oil and gas segment, we are the world leader. We are the world leader in building oil rigs. We are the world leader in conversion and integration of FPSOs. And we are also a world leader in conversion of FSRU. So that part will continue to evolve. And the twist to it is that there is a lot more reduction of carbon footprint around those platforms.
Okay.
Now, Then we have the new renewables market. Renewables market, we are growing our footprint in it. Our ability to suit to different geographies requirement has led to us as the preferred partner for a lot of customers.
Okay. So the second part of my question, if I may try my luck, right, which is the most important segment to you ultimately when it comes down to finances today as we embark on the energy transition? Is it still oil and gas or is it more of new energies?
It is a mix. Now, largely in the order book, is still oil and gas driven. It really depends on the energy transition trend that's taking place right now in the world.
Okay, we'll talk more about that later on in the conversation. But let's take a look at your customer base, Chris. They include major energy companies like Saudi Aramco. You've got owners of floating production units as well. You have large shipping groups such as, I'm not sure if this is the right way to pronounce it, Angelikos' group in Greece, which has one of the world's largest privately owned fleets. How would you segment your customers? Which is the most important customer segment and what is the ticket size we're looking at?
Well, I wouldn't say that which customer is more important.
Yeah, all equally important.
I would say that they are all equally important. The key thing is about the value proposition and what is our belief. All right. At the end of the day, the value add, and we are fortunate because all these majors, whether they are in oil and gas, renewable, or maritime world, they put their trust with us, and I think that we are able to deliver and return on their belief.
So your value proposition, right, is to take them through various stages of energy transition. Is that true? Whether you start with them in oil and gas or you start with them when they're in the stage of already embarking on new energies. Is that the case?
There are various customer profile.
Okay.
Some of the oil and gas energy major, they do have a portfolio in the renewable space. So we do have projects, let's say, for example, Equinor in the yard right now. And then for renewables, they are looking for people they can trust to build a multi-billion-dollar asset. We are there. And also for maritime owners like Angelikos, she has basically reached out and said that they are looking at how do they manage long-term on their LNG fleet. We are there. So regardless of what's their requirement, solution providing is our core.
What is the average ticket size we are looking at? Are we looking at 100 millions or in the teens, or are we looking at in billions? Because your net order book is in the billions range, right?
Yeah, I don't think we segment customers in terms of ticket size.
Okay.
Because the key thing is about different jobs will have different complexity, time range, and also scope. So take, for example, if you talk about a ship repair or upgrade, it will be a smaller ticket size, probably in single million or tens of million, but it's very short. They come in and they go. So it can range to something like $4 billion US, FPSO construction that will take 4 years.
I know you don't segment them based on ticket size, but generally speaking, is it right to understand that you're working with more of the bigger players with a longer time horizon and a larger ticket size? If I can try my luck that way.
Okay, you don't have to try your luck. I will answer that quite straightforward.
Okay.
But why I don't segment my customer is because of this. They need energy solutions, and that's our core.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, so long they see the value proposition in Seatrium, which is global in nature, and also we have engineering capabilities to provide solutions. And also, at the end of the day, we have to be profitable in doing their job. So if that's all the factors are met, a lot also boils down to relationship. That's why we have a lot of returning customers. Okay,
I see. Now let's take a look at where things are at for Seatrium right now, Chris. Seatrium, as we talked about earlier, it is an interesting company to look at because the company's leadership managed to turn around the business in just slightly under 2 years since it merged with Keppel O&M. So if I could bring out some numbers, in February 2025, the firm reported net profit of close to 121 million Sing dollars for second half ended December, and that meant a full year net profit of around 157 million Sing dollars for Seatrium, a marked improvement from the 2 billion Sing dollar loss we saw the year before, the first full year profit since merger with Keppel O&M. I know you've mentioned this in your results release a number of times, but what were the key drivers behind the numbers, and is the timeline 2 years within your expectations?
First thing is the alignment of stakeholders, right? You know that it's always a very complex thing to bring two companies with strong history together. We have good shareholders, including the retail shareholders. They are very supportive at our AGM. We have very strong board support and management support, and on top of that, my team members in the company. So all these factors plus our customers, right? There's a belief of the Seatrium value, and at the same time, what we are pushing for very early stages of coming together is number one, to set the goals very clearly, set the strategy very clearly. And one of the biggest things that we are taking is also identifying core and non-core assets that we continue to divest or invest. And then at the same time, one of the most fundamental principles is take a look at our costs.
You talked about the balance sheet cleanup, so to speak, right? How do you balance or maintain transparency with your investors amid the cost-cutting initiatives? And how do you justify that? Hey, this is not just cost-cutting. There is a strategic reason as to why we're disposing of certain assets.
Yeah, that's why we had our investor day last year, quickly after firming our strategy forward. The target for 2028 has been set and been communicated to the market. And at the same time, we also shared with all our shareholders and the market what are our targets in doing rationalization. I won't say that it's just pure cost cutting. It's about, as in any companies that are coming together, we in fact want to be very clear on what are the opportunities. But first thing first, we need to be very clear what are the core assets.
What were some of the assets that were kept versus disposed of, and what were the reasons behind, just so that our listeners could have an idea?
Yeah. So when we came together, there is a very varied form of assets that were held by two individual companies. Those assets were very relevant to the strategy of individual companies. But when we put the two companies together, we actually have some state-of-the-art facilities that's not available to the other company. So Seatrium, as a centrally now driven company in the oil and gas, renewables, and also maritime industry, we take a look at our customer profile, job profile, and energy transition demand. Some of the projects that we can actually fill into the facilities will make some assets like SS floating docks to be non-core assets from then, and even some yachts. Because as we rationalize and increase our productivity in some of our facilities, that will mean that we have a lot more room to rationalize the footprint.
Okay. But what were some of the challenges in the streamlining of operation and in trying to turn a profit all at the same time? Because I suppose there'll be a lot of uncertainties within teams from both Keppel O&M and also Sembcorp Marine. How do you manage all of that? What is your secret sauce?
The secret sauce is basically sincerity and humility.
Okay.
I think the management team, the board, came together and we were very clear about turning the company around. How do we want to go about doing it? Listening from the ground. But most importantly is to align everybody with a common core value.
Okay.
All right. And we are fortunate because when we put two teams together, they actually have a fundamental DNA in them, which is they want to make sure that the company is successful. So based on that, we need a lot of communication or even over-communication of what's the value proposition of Seatrium, what optimized Seatrium means, and how each of them will actually be able to fill their respective roles to that strategy.
Okay, so it's all about communications down to the individual roles. And let's set our sights on the road ahead, Chris, because in late May, Seatrium said its net order book stood at 21 billion Sing dollars as at March 31st. And among other things, in that order book are 26 projects with delivery stretching till 2031. And projects relating to renewables and green or cleaner solutions that amounted to 7.1 billion Sing dollars of the total amount. So looking at the general picture, 21 billion, how far is the number within your expectations, and are projects progressing as scheduled?
Yes, projects, we have been very vocal to our shareholders, analysts. Projects are going on well. The key thing about us setting up a lineage of projects in the order book is the ability to lesson learn as they execute.
Yeah.
And all these lesson learn are all being passed down to subsequent projects. So at the end of the day, we want to be more and more optimal and do each project in better in terms of cost control and also schedule control. So yes, the other portion about the order book. Well, today that's the beauty of us having our strategy around energy transition.
Okay.
Because each of the segment will face different headwinds. Today there are a lot of uncertainty in the political arena. So, but energy is a fundamental necessity for many of the countries. So our strategy around it will be sound.
Okay. So you talked about learning in terms of controlling the timeline and schedules and etc. So would you say that all in, if we set our time horizon till the end of the decade, all of the projects plus minus, they will be realized as scheduled, so to speak?
Yes, of course. On time, on budget.
Okay. On time, on budget. And I do want to talk about targets because Seatrium executives in August last year said the firm is looking at a minimum of 1 billion Sing dollars in earnings before interest, tax, depreciation and amortization, EBITDA, and a return of equity of 8% by 2028. That target has been talked about for quite some time. You have described it as a conservative one. So why is it conservative? And what are we looking at as we look at the second half of 2025?
Yeah, I think we need to look at the target holistically because first thing first, we came from a situation whereby first, I think there was a headwind in the industry. The two companies came together and we were all trying to turn the business around. At the same time, we're transforming the business. So if all in, 2028 target is just nearby.
Okay.
And for us to really take a look at those numbers that we target, the next dimension to it is about resilience.
Okay.
Because the oil and gas business is known to be cyclical, but targeting energy transition across the value chain, we think that we are able to deliver resilient results from there.
I just want to follow up on what you mentioned earlier. When you talk about resilient results, I'm assuming results every quarter, every year, and etc. What would resilient results look like to you versus what the company is seeing right now? That's number one. And number two, you talk about, different projects have different timeline, different learnings, and you work from there and you improve from there. Could you share with us an example of how you've improved operations from those learnings?
Okay, there's two questions there,
Yes.
right? So number one, resilience means through cycle production of those results so that shareholders and analysts understand what is the fundamental capability of the company.
Okay.
So that's why we shared 2028 targets, although the market feedback that, hey, we see that you can reach that earlier, but the resilience portion is not something that they known us for because we have just gone through a very bad downturn. So that is something that we are building with different portfolios. Now, it is a very relevant question because then how did we set up our order book and portfolio that way to produce resilient results? If we take a look at the portfolio of oil and gas, it's a series of FPSOs being built. So which means although they are not 100% the same one after the other, but the team, based on one Seatrium delivery model, will be building components, different parts of the jigsaw, and that jigsaw will be improved through lesson learned from the first project. So as we go through the lineage, oil and gas project in this way, our FPU business in that way, our HVDC and HVAC in renewables, offshore wind in that way, we get better and better in delivering the product. And as we reach and stretch through the projects that will be delivered in 2031, by then we should be very optimized, delivering very steady results.
So what you're doing right now is building capabilities across various segments, not just in oil and gas, which is cyclical. You're also looking at optimizing and staggering your order book, so to speak, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. And if you're just tuning in, we're now in conversation with Chris Ong, CEO at Seatrium. And Chris, let's talk more about the order book because ultimately we love money at Money FM. So Seatrium Offshore Technology secured this contract from Saudi Aramco-backed shipyard International Maritime Industries to provide equipment as well as to build a rig in the Middle East and North Africa. I believe there's a deal signed with BP for a second floating production unit for the Gulf of Mexico, or what's renamed as the Gulf of America by US President Donald Trump. What else is on your pipeline right now?
Well, pipeline, there are quite many different type of assets, and usually we will engage with a customer that know us, and they have a problem to solve. So let's take, for example, on top of what you have mentioned, we also secured with Penta Ocean on wind foundation installer.
Okay.
That is for the Japanese market. So at the end of the day, they came with a problem and we are there to solve an issue. So fundamentally, what I'm saying is that based on what we are looking at, it can be quite varied, not necessarily only just from the big names. But pipeline is strong so long the energy market is strong.
Question though, Chris, how far will the on-off US trade policy as well as potential tensions in the Middle East throw a spanner in the works on both the supply and the demand side of things? Do you expect it to be a direct impact to your order book, or do you expect it to be impact from reduced global trade and consumption instead?
Well, I think saying Seatrium is a global business, we are not immune to global politics and uncertainty. I think uncertainty is the main word.
Yeah.
And your guess is might be better than mine, right? We don't know what will happen tomorrow. Situation is very fluid. So, but I would see that fundamentally energy demand will continue to grow. Energy mix will continue to play out over, it depends on how long, right? So today, offshore wind may be impacted, but fundamentally, I think green energy will still be in demand. So what I'm trying to say is that short-term disruption and uncertainty will be there, but mid-term to long-term demand will continue to grow.
Okay.
So we just have to keep close to our customer to understand what's their timeline. And I think that we are setting up a very interesting future because we're building a sustainable collection of execution plan and also capabilities within the company.
You talked about how there will still be growth in the midterm despite the uncertainties that we're looking at right now. So what are the key drivers bolstering your net order books in the longer term, excluding renewables? Which are the geographical markets with the biggest growth potential right now?
We look at different geography in a different way, purely because of the different situation. And each of the geography, regardless, first will be guided by the principle of energy trilemma.
Okay.
All right. Any geography will need to have answer to the energy trilemma in the sense that energy transition, energy security, and cost. So as we take a look, for example, oil and gas in South America, probably would be a lot stronger because they're trying to extract and basically to increase their production. In Europe, there will be a mix of LNG projects for their base load and also offshore wind for energy security because many countries are trying to win off Russian gas.
Yes.
In Asia, there are a lot of developmental projects. It's a mix, but offshore wind is also gaining traction in different countries. So when we take a look at the different geographies, we have different approach, but fundamentally is basically what does the customer need.
When you talked about growth, is there a specific number you're looking at in terms of CAGR? Or are you looking at, when the customer demand comes, we will serve and we'll do whatever we can, and growth will be similar to that of the industry as a whole?
Well, the way we approach growth is growth around our ROE and also our EBITDA, because fundamentally this business is the right metrics to take a look at us is really EBITDA. How are we performing on the projects itself? Whether growth itself will be affected short term, that is why our strategy was to get good projects within the order book. And I think the team were quite successful in basically getting quality projects with quality customer within the order book itself. So that actually gives us a little bit of shelter, but we are not sitting on our laurels. We are staying close to the customers to take a look at what would be the next series of products that they're looking at.
I see. Well, let's talk about renewables, right, Chris? Because you've pointed to projects in the renewable sector as a bright spot that can help Seatrium diversify away from global risks as well. So tell us more about the projects under your belt. Earlier you mentioned about Japan. I know you have several projects in the US, so tell us more about them.
Wow, that will be a very long narrative. But let's say, because I've shared about energy transition. That's one. I guess the transition is a long journey. It's a destination that we're looking at. So that drives us in our strategy to build capabilities. Number two is about, again, the energy trilemma. Because different geographies will have needs for different energy sources. So renewables, mainly offshore wind, when we first looked at that market, we are engineering capable firm, in fact, global leading in terms of end-to-end provision of solutions. Why not? It's right within our doorstep to be able to do that. Right now, when you talk about what we have done, we have built or are building an aggregate of near to more than 13 gigawatts of asset for the world. That's almost equals to the generating capacity of Singapore.
Wow.
So it's not a small market for us. We first venture out to introduce ourselves to the offshore wind developers, people like Ørsted, introduce them to our capacity, our people, our system. And right now we have delivered quite a number to Taiwan. Now we have breakthrough in Japan, and we have also delivered to US. And right now we are also building for Europe. So in that way, it is really geography driven.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ørsted for Taiwan and US.
Yeah.
We are also building HVDC platforms for TenneT.
Okay.
2 gigawatt each. So each one of them is huge.
So 13 is the capacity of Singapore, and you're doing 2 for them already.
13 gigawatt is capacity of the generating capacity of Singapore. The asset that we're building for offshore wind is more than 13 gigawatts.
Wow, okay. Well, Chris, talk to us. Are there ongoing discussions relating to offshore wind projects that you're doing perhaps in Taiwan, other parts of Asia? Could you give us a teaser?
Our customers, of course, this question probably came from a background of offshore wind situation right now in the market. I think the US has certain challenges.
Okay.
But the rest of the world, like in Europe, we have conversation with our usual customer like TenneT. They have an ambition to grow their portfolio because of the energy demand or transformation in Germany and also in Holland. Well, Taiwan is still a growth base, and Japan and South Korea has signaled their ambition for offshore wind. So yes, we are still active in terms of providing solutions to our customer in that area.
Asia remains a bright spot.
Asia remains a bright spot, but I won't write off Europe with good order book wins.
Okay. And finally, before we let you go, Chris, take us through some future plans for Seatrium for the rest of this year and into the next. Also, what can we look forward to right here in Singapore?
For Seatrium itself, within this year, next year, we will get better in terms of performance. We are still transforming while integrating. I think that the customers, investors will see a lot more optimized and capable Seatrium that would be going globally to provide solutions to all the energy issues. Now, from a corporate angle, we will continue to march towards our 2028 targets.
8% ROE.
Yes, we are very confident on being able to achieve that.
I see. Thanks so much for the insights, Chris. That was Chris Ong, CEO at Seatrium. Thank you so much for joining us on Money FM 89.3.
Thank you.
Before acting on the information on Money FM, please consider if it's suitable for your own investment objectives, financial situation, and risk tolerance. To listen to more great interviews, download our podcasts at audio.sg or download the audio app. That's AWEDIO, audio at the App Store and Google Play.